So I want to say welcome this time, wherever you are. We want to say welcome and welcome to the Change Forum. There is a forum of 1 hour 30 minutes where we bring students from diverse backgrounds to speak to us on issues affecting the student community. Today we are having Caroline Hoskin, a Liberian who is currently in Nigeria reading law, and she's in a final semester. Today we'll be joining Caroline Hoskin from Nigeria to speak to us on the topic, the legal system, the construct of Liberian legal system as it is telling. So we will soon be joining by our panelists, Moses Williams Jr. will be joining us very shortly, and Sanem Mane will soon be joining us shortly as we host our guest today, Caroline Hoskin. So, say, Caroline Hoskin, welcome to the Change.
Thank you very much. Thank you, Elijah Dennis. I'm grateful. I've seen some of your shows, and I would say I really applaud the great work you people are doing. It's inspiring, it is educating, and it is enlightening. And we have in this generation, our youth, building this kind of forum for the progress of a better world and more of educating us in diverse perspective. I feel this is a very brilliant idea, and I really applaud this effort so far. Well, according to Elijah Dennis, at least he has done justice to introducing me, but I'll go over to introduce myself. I'm Hoskin Caroline Matilda. I'm a law student in my senior year. I don't know how to call it, but then I'm in 400 level in the University of Ilorin, Nigeria, to be precise. And yeah, I will be talking or discussing the topic legal system. That is the construct of Liberia legal system as a case study for this particular show. So thank you.
Thank you so much, Caroline Hoskin. That was the voice of Caroline Hoskin, our guest here today on the exchange. The exchange is 1 hour 30 minutes program going to you from we are currently situated in India, where we bring to you students from diverse backgrounds to explain to you on issues surrounding the educational system. Today, as I said, we are in talk with Caroline Hoskin. We're going to be joined by our co-panelists. Caroline, before we go strictly into our discussion tonight, we also want to know your answer is a little different. We also want to know where are you really from because of the accent.
Okay, I'm a Liberian, born Liberian, mother, father, born there, full fledged Liberian. But I was just opportune to leave the country at a very early age, and that is why my accent has been influenced by the British way, I would say. So yeah, basically I grew up in Nigeria, and that is why I speak this way. But I am a Liberian.
Thank you very much. As you listen to our Caroline Hoskins, a Liberian who grew up in Nigeria. And Caroline Hoskins, want to know where did you start your education, let's say from elementary up to graduate level or 12th grade. And want to know as well, how is the education system there in Nigeria as compared to Liberia or other places?
Well, the education system down here in Nigeria, is a bittersweet situation. Ironically, I meant it's in a way good, and on the other hand, not really good and not really friendly academically to say. And reason is because look at I'm in university and we're on strike. It's been 6 months now. I last went to school and we've been staying home. Ah, but looking at it, my university, to be precise, is a very beautiful school, and the learning process over here is beautiful and it is captivating. So, but indeed, different country with different strategy and different beliefs and practices would definitely have to be altered. So, and that is why I really can't judge, but it's a fair word. Whatever you have, you take. School life is not easy, basically.
Okay. So, Caroline, just mute your mic when you are not speaking. I think there's a feedback coming.
Okay.
Okay, that's good. I think it's okay. There's no feedback for now because one of our viewer, Ebenezer Bill Clute, just notified that. Thank you for your notification. Okay, Karen, as we quickly go into the discussion today, the discussion remains the legal system, the construct of Liberia legal system as a case study. So, what do you make of the topic legal system, especially what do you mean by legal system?
So thank you. Legal system. The word legal means the right thing. Something that has already been prescribed as good, or as a rule whereby you have to follow. So literally to say legal system means the law that governs the people at a particular geographical area of a particular country. So basically there are rules set to protect, govern, correct, definitely law will have to punish. There are always penalties and all of that. So basically saying it's a law set up in order to structuralize the system of the government, the people, and run their activities.
Okay. So, Caroline, we looking at the legal system and using Liberia as a case study. So, would you mind driving us into the topic as to what it meant by legal system and how does the legal systems actually work and proceed in Liberia, or what are the structure of a legal system?
I really didn't get your question right. I feel there's so many things. So is it that I should go into discussion or talk more about the topic?
Yeah, you can go into discussion.
Okay. So thank you very much, Elijah Dennis. Once again, it's a honor and a privilege to be among your. Well, today's topic is the legal system, the construct of the Liberia legal system as a case study. Well, for the benefit of others that might not know the country Liberia, I would want to give a brief um, history or a background about the country. Well, the country is situated on the west coast of Africa and it is bordered by Ivory Coast to the northeast and Guinea to the north and Sierra Leone to the west. It is also bordered by the Atlantic Ocean on the south. It is also, we would not ignore this fact that it is the oldest Africa country which gained its democracy at a very early age, 1822, by the United States of America under the regime of President James Monroe. So basically, the country was okay. All right, the country became an independent state in 1847. The country was founded by the emancipated slaves from the United States of America, making President Monroe, who repatriated descendants of African slaves who had the willingness to join and become an independent state under his regime. The country also gained its independence under the minority Afro-American settlers until April 1980, when Samuel Doe, a member of the army, launched a military coup and took power. So in 1989, the National Patriotic Front of Liberia, that is the NPFL, led by Charles Taylor, started an armed conflict against Samuel Doe as an arbitrational rules which took much of the adventurous part of the country. It was a sad one anyways, but then we thank God for where we are and very, very certain that Liberia will pick up from its scratch. So under the same regime of the LNPFL, that is the Independent National Patriotic Front, which was led by Prince Johnson in 1990, an interim government of national unity was formed by Dr. Amos Swaye serving as the head. So after that war, when Charles Taylor was impeached, like he resigned and he went into exile. So a particular reformation for a new dawn in Liberia was governed or was headed by Dr. Amos. And in so doing, there came, um, after the resignation now, there came Brian, who headed the new regime in 2005, and he took on the chair of presidential and legislative election, which was head by Elise Johnson, our former president. So she took off right from 2005 and became the first African female president. So portion to 1986 constitution guarantee the three arms of government. Sorry about that. The three arms of government, and that is the legislature was guaranteed, and that of the executive was guaranteed, and also the judiciary system of government too was guaranteed. Now we are looking at the new reformation because it was after the war and series of crisis and conflicts here and there after the independence, which gave a new birth under the regime of Eli Salif, gave a new birth. Sorry, which gave a new birth of. Oh my God, I have sorry. Which gave a new birth of governances in the country. However, it is important to note that before we go into the legal system, we should understand what law is. So, law is a system of rule which a particular country recognizes as a means of regulating the action of its members, and which it may enforce by the imposition of penalty, clearly to say that in a country there should be a law, because definitely human being will forever remain human being. There is a saying that goes does that the heart of man is the dwelling place of the devil himself. So there should be a mechanism whereby rectification, controlling, and proactive measures ought to be set in place in order to eradicate crimes, offenses, and breach of the stipulated rules. So, and that is why a law have been reformed to rebuild the country. However, there are types of Liberia, the sources of Liberia law, that is the sources how Liberia legal system came into being. And to better understand this, we are to understand the structure of the Liberia government. And first, our case study will be on the legislature. So the legislature, so sorry. Yes, the power is vested in the legislative arms of government in Liberia, which consists of two separate houses, that is the National Assembly and the National Assembly, which consists of the Senate and House of Representatives. So the Senate comprises of 30 seats, while the House of Representatives holds 64 seats. However, it is important to note that the absence of the Senate, then the president as the head now will be provided a forum that is portion to arbitral 47 of chapter 5 of the constitution, whereby if the senator's office is vacant, then the deputy now can take over and be the senator. However, there is an exception to this provision. The deputy now acting as the senator must is only going in to fill in the particular time unused. So thereafter, after that tenure has been lapsed, then he could choose to either go for the post or resign thereafter the whole office term. It is key to understand that to be a member of the Senate, you should have a particular qualification, And this is provided for portions under Article 30 of the Constitution. A said it must, like, whosoever going for that particular post must be of the age of 30 years for Senate, and importantly, must be 25 years for the House of Representatives. So if you are below this age is stipulated, obviously you won't be eligible to go for that particular post. And they must domicile in the country or constituencies which he will not be present not less than 1 year. That is, if eventually you want to run that particular post, you want to go for that particular post, you must be in the country. And if peradventure you are not in the country, it should be 1 year prior to the election, prior to the election. And then it is also important to note that members of the Senate are elected to be in that particular office for 9 years. That is for the Senate. This is provided for under Article 45 of the Constitution. And House of Rep is 6 years, portions to Article 48 of the Constitution. Then Article 34 of the Constitution stipulates the powers of the legislature of the Republic of Liberia. So there are powers listed in which the in which the activities or the judicial powers given to the Senate are to be executed. So, and we'll move forward to the executive. The power is vested in the president, who is the head of state, the head of government, and the commissioner in chief of the army force in Liberia. Simply to say that he is the head, he is above and is the head, he is the supreme man in the country. So he happens to be the president, who is the head of the state and the head of government, and also the head of the commissioner in chief of army force in Liberia. And he also holds the term for 6 years, the office now for 6 years, and is eligible to run for a second term. So Section 52 creates the office for the vice president. We should not ignore the fact that the office of the vice president will always be active in as much the president is not absent. And what do I mean? Like, the vice president is to assist the president in the discharge of his functions. So the vice president is elected in the same political ticket as the president and shall share the same term as the president, and this is provided for in Section 52 of the Constitution. Now, the qualification of both the president and that of the vice president: he must be naturally born Liberian citizen, not less than 35 years. Then owner of unencumbered real properties valued at not less than $25,000, must hold a property not less than $25,000, and must have been resided in the country for at least 10 years prior to the election. Okay, Article 56 sub A provides that the cabinet, the minister, and the deputy and ambassador, ministers, and consuls, superintendents of the counties and other government, then officials, both military or civilian, shall be appointed by the president. All of these offices shall be appointed by the president, and they shall hold office in conjunction with the provision of the Constitution. So if they are to hold office for 5 years, they are to run that office for 5 years and not above or beneath, unless a particular um, maybe death, absence, and all of that, impeachment. That is the only time they can be out of their office. Then section 58 says that the president may also remit any public forfeitures and penalties, suspend fines and sentences, grant pardon, and restore civil rights after conviction of all public offences except impeachment. The president is that powerful that he has all power into his hands. But however, the president cannot impeach these offices. He has no right to impeach a person. And this is provided for in Article 59 of the Constitution. Now, our next focus will be on the judiciary system of government. So, the judiciary system of government is vested in the Supreme Court, and such subordinate
Caroline,
court as the legislature may form time to time. So now the judiciary system focus more on the Supreme Court. The Supreme Court is above of every other subordinate courts. They have the power to look into the activities as it runs time to time. So the Supreme Court is headed by the Chief Justice, the circuit judge justice, the magistrate, the court by justice of the peace. And all of these courts are empowered to apply both statutory and customary rules. It is important to note that Liberia, when it comes to their judicial system, they run both law, and that is the statutory and that of the customary laws of the country. And then at the
okay,
judicial
Caroline.
level, yes,
Okay, I think just mute 1 minute. Moses said away on here. I've just joined us, one of the panelists. Just mute 1 minute. You're gonna start from where you stop.
okay.
Okay, we want to say wheresoever you are following us, there's Carla, mute 1 minute, please. Mute your mic. Your mic is on. Wheresoever you are following us, we want to say welcome to the Exchange. Exchange is a 1 hour 30 minutes program that brings to you every Wednesday and Saturday. Uh, to explain to you on issues affecting the students cumulated in various aspects of the educational sector. Today we have Caroline Hoskin joining us from Nigeria, talking to us on the structure of the legal system of Liberia. Using Liberia as a case study, we have been joined by Moses Tarawayon Jr. Mr. Tarawayon, can you quickly introduce yourself as we proceed with our guest?
Thank you very much, Elijah. And it's indeed a pleasure to be a part of tonight's edition of the Exchange. And let me say, first of all, a very big thank you to Miss Caroline Hoskin for accepting the invite of the Exchange. And, it's very much uh, like a very big deal when you see young people coming together to discuss issues of major concerns, both nationally and internationally. And it's another big plus for all of us that we see a young woman who is vibrantly and so much obsessed with the legal system. And I'm gonna commend you for the fact that you took the stance to be a part of the legal processes, that people will be able to understand their rights and be able to have justice being served in a proper manner. My name is Moses Richmond Telaware, and I am one of the panelists on the exchange. And it's actually a pleasure. Let me say thank you to Elijah Dennis for allowing us to be a part of tonight's edition of the Exchange. Like he read this say, the Exchange is a show that comes your way on Wednesday and Saturday. Is is a show that brings together young people from diverse backgrounds to discuss issues of major concerns, both nationally and internationally. The exchange is being streamed on three platforms: Facebook, YouTube, and Twitter. And tonight is a very special edition as we discuss and dissect issues of major concern relatively to the legal systems of our country, Liberia. So before going further, I you were discussing something of Miss Caroline Hoskin. I just want to know shortly before we can come back to what you were talking about. And there might be many questions and query of how did this young lady became so obsessed with law, with the legal system? What caused the obsession and what brought you to the field of law? Can you just address that shortly before we move forward?
Thank you, Moses. Thank you. Well, for me, when my early days in Liberia, as I said earlier, I though I was born in Liberia, but I really didn't get to know what my country is. I only got to hear a lot of sayings, oh, Liberia is this one, like the fourth war and stuff like that. So, and my first visitation to Liberia was when I met Elijah Dennis in school. So basically, I feel I used that particular period to acquaint myself with my country. So it was more of getting to know my country. And I've also felt victim of so many failure of the law. And I've realized that there are a lot of lapses in the law. There are a lot of things that are not really lapses, but I feel people believe in jungle justice and which ought not to be right. So me sharing my own story with them, enlightening them. I was molested by a Liberian and I told him I was going to sue him, to the court. And he was on the ground of, oh, sorry, this one, that one. And basically, this conflict came up when he stole money from me. And I'm this kind of person. I believe in the law. I know the law protects us. So I was ready to take him to court. I wanted my money back. I needed it. So he came to me and he wanted to show me love, that kind of stuff. And I was confused, like seriously. And the sister was like, after reporting now, the sister was like, oh, don't you know that's how they do in Liberia? Why are you doing as if you're not a like no, let me quote her. She was like, you doing jealousy, Liberian, you not say, oh, sorry, I have to go back. You have to sleep with a person in order to amend or restitute whatever conflicts you have. And other things really came. The few moments I spent in Liberia, I got to see so many things, like so many things. And I've been driven. And because of our time, I don't want to go into, but I have so much belief that Liberia will be a better country with me, with you, every one of us. Like we will definitely give Liberia a new face, a new birth, and a new dawn. That's my passion, and that is why I'm going into it. As for my senior year, that should, I don't know how you people call it, but by my third year in school, I joined the political aspect in my school. I happens to be the general secretary, and because I was still very much new in the system, I needed that post, get to acquaint myself and know how politics is run. And I thought you're looking at the future Liberia president. So thank you, Moses.
Yeah. Thank you so much.
Yeah.
It is amazing that we can see young people wanting to be a part of the lawmaking processes of our country and extensively the entire world because law and order is very important for every society. If you cannot have a law and order in every area of our life, then people will be wayward and then you cannot be developed because law is important for every society. So thank you very much, Caroline Hoskin. And then you can just continue from where you stop. And subsequently we'll have questions from the audience and then I will give you a few questions so we can continue the discourse. But it's really fascinating and exciting to have you here tonight. Thank you.
So thank you, everybody. Thank you, every one of you. Well, I will just continue from where I stopped. So, lastly, I spoke about the judicial system of government in Nigeria. So, I think I've covered that, and it is also important that the judicial in the judicial level, the Supreme Court happens to be the, as the name implies, supreme. It's above any every other subordinate court in the country, and all matters and issues are decided there, and they are supreme. They are finding, and they are binding. Its judgment is permanent. So it is regarded as the utmost court or judicial system that really applies and enforces the law. So, and it's also key to know that Liberia practice a unilateral system of government, and that is why the Supreme Courts have as like a watchdog for every other court underneath it. It decides and also dictates for other courts. And it's that funny that the other courts kind of admire one, and also like the judicial precedents, that is the matters decided in the courts by the judge. Like now, if I have a particular case, I can use that matter of the Supreme Court to win my case, because I believe that the decision of that particular case handled in the Supreme Court is binding. So it serves as a, like, I don't know how I would say it, but more like a small god that the subordinate courts look up to furnish themselves into the appropriate channel of the law in the country. So let's talk about the legal system in Liberia. Said it's a dual one of statutory law based on the Anglo-American common law for the modern sectors, and customary law based on unwritten customary practices for the indigenous people. When the settlers came to Liberia on that land before they call it Liberia, there are other peoples, the indigenous people on that particular land, occupying the face of that particular land. So we should not ignore the fact that they too have their own practices, they have their own beliefs, and they have their own custom, and they have, in a way, have their practices that govern them and govern their activities. So the combination, the legal, sorry about this. So the legal system, which happens to be the principle and procedures for classification of laws and matters, or procedures for relating to matters. That is, simply to put, they say it is a system which prescribe, and it's also a procedure where other laws can be interpreted, and you can, however, also enforce this particular law. Legal system is more like a channel wherein you use it to enforce your law, you use it to interpret your law in the right manner, So now the legal system in Liberia comprises of two classes, that is the common law of Anglo-America, and also the customary law of the people, the indigenous people on that particular land. And it is also key to know the sources of this legal system. Firstly, I will talk about the constitution. The constitution of Liberia serve as a very key source of legal of the Liberian legal system, there is no how you want to adjudicate on a matter that you won't go to the constitution. If you are to be punished, if you are to be promoted, if you are to be if there is any law to be enacted, you have to go back to the constitution. Here in Nigeria, they will say is the fountain of every other laws. And if any law is inconsistent with this constitution, such law shall be nulled and void to the existence of its uh, applicability. So what do I mean? Like now, the constitution is supreme. We believe it is more powerful in the country and it should be recognized and respected. So now if I'm to bring up a law whereby I'm like, okay, let's no, I don't want to be biased. Don't let me talk about that though. But a situation whereby I say in my village they slap people before they eat, that's barbaric, but then I believe that in my community or in my village or in my town, it is a practice. And if I ask everybody in that place, they can vouch for it. They can say, oh yes, that is how we behave here. Before you eat, you slap the person. And because we believe it, because we practice it, and because it is known to us, that's the beauty of law. Law should be recognized by the people of that particular place. If it's not recognized, then it's not a law. So, and the constitution must also recognize that particular provision whereby I say you should slap, and it's approved. It gives its existence that okay, laws can be made under this particular, like the Quran. We have under the Quran says that you can also provide other provisions. That's the istilaf, the sunnah, the and so on and so forth. They have so many sources, and that's the same way for the constitution. And the
Okay.
constitution
Uh,
having
let me just okay, the points are very clear, and like we are running out of time, Caroline, so we have to be exact to the issues and then discuss it relatively to be interactive. So I don't know, but there are certain things people will be asking relatively to tonight's topic, and I just wanted to address them and be exact to the fact that they can understand from someone who's reading law, someone who understands the structure of Liberia's law. So let me just ask a question shortly, if you don't. Are you understanding me?
I'm with you.
Okay. So this is the question. Like all of us know, there are three branches of government in Liberia, and those three branches are the executive, the legislative, and the judiciary. So of these three branches of government, there are two basic branches of government that are responsible for law, or for laws basically, and that is the legislative, which is like responsible for making the law as per our constitution, and then the judiciary is responsible for interpreting the law. So there might be a conflict, and most people might not understand the issue of interpretation and making. So can you just dissect exactly? Can you just dissect what it means to be, or what the functions when it comes to the judiciary, when it comes to interpreting the law, and the legislative when it comes to making the law? Can you be exact? And let's just do it shortly, please.
Thank you very much, Moses. Well, the judiciary, they they interpret the law. Judiciary is more like, practically saying, it's like the court. So I'm interpreting the law by telling you the provision of section 2 of the constitution is saying the constitution is supreme. So I interpret it by the case you bring to me. Why the legislators, the legislative arm of government now write it. Okay, this is they pass, although they pass them into bills, like okay, we want if you commit a sin, you should pay 20 naira. That's for another discussion anyway. So they make this law. They will sit on it and then they will be like, okay, I don't feel this is appropriate. What about 20 naira? What about 20, 30 naira? What about 40 naira? So basically, they write the law, and why the judiciary interprets the law, that is using this constitution now as their guide to running the day-to-day activities of the people. I think simply said, that's the best way I can explain it.
Okay, Caroline. I think Moses will come in with a follow-up question to that. But what is the relevance? Why is it important that we should have a legal system within a country when everybody in on quote unquote can govern themselves and in their own rational mind they can go about doing things that they feel is okay. So what is it? What is the significance of having a legal system within a country?
Sorry.
So we'll be joined quickly by Caroline Hoskin. Caroline Hoskin is our guest today on today's editions of the program, and she is talking about the legal systems of the country, and she will be joining us shortly on the exchange tonight.
Show, show. And
Yeah, Caroline, you got my questions right? You are mute, on mute.
Sorry. Yeah, I actually got your question, and thank you for that. Well, as you said, it is really important. It is key to have a law in a country. And as I said earlier, the heart of a man is the dwelling place of the devil. So definitely, where there is no law, there is no crime, as they will say. But then that's the other way around, because that's not really true. You know, um sorry, I take that back. Where there is no law, there is no crime. If I slap you, it's not an offense. But then how will you have it whereby I slap you? What about the human right and all of that? So one, it is important to have a constitution in, or a law in a country, because it governs the day-to-day activities. It runs the country activities, and yes, it runs it runs the country's activities, their functions, and their offices, their works, everything. It runs it smoothly. And then two, it also enhances a very, very peaceful governance in a country. It enhances a very, very good governance in the country. And also, having a law in a country recognizes a country as a country, because before you can call a country by its name, it should have these features, and one of it, which is key, is also their laws. Is their laws. So I feel these 3 points should be enough. I'm so sorry, I had to quickly go do something. That's why.
okay, thank you very much. And this is the exchange, a program that brings together young people from diverse backgrounds to discuss issues of major concerns relatively to national issues and international issues. And tonight we have one in studio, Miss Caroline Hoskin from Nigeria, and we are here dissecting the issue of the legal system in our country, Liberia. And the exchange is a platform that is being streamed on three social media platforms. That is Facebook, YouTube, and Twitter. And tonight she has been discussing with us the construct of Liberia's legal systems. And we are here drinking from her fountain of knowledge relatively to the legal system. So when you talk about the legal systems, people will be asking basically, Caroline, what is the structure of the legal systems? Can you just to rely on it? Like, what is the structure, the full structure of the legal system in our country, Liberia?
Well, thank you. Basically, the structure of Liberia legal systems comes from, by hierarchy, is government. So from the government, it goes to the court. From the court, it goes to the judicial precedence. From the judicial precedence, it goes to the the customary practices of the people, and from there it goes to the other public beliefs and public and private beliefs of the those particular people, that is the librarian now. So yeah.
Okay, thank you. So there are few. Can you just mute your mic, please? Okay, so there are a few things people normally do, and they are unaware that their rights has been infringed. Like, normally there are things that, or people who don't know the law will always go against or will go for, and they don't know that they have been infringed upon. That is, people who know the law or who claim to know the law will use it against them. Basically, like their human rights, their social rights, those kind of rights. So, can you just throw a light on a few basic rights that people should be aware of, and that they shouldn't allow individuals who are law interpreters, who are lawmakers, to infringe on? Can you just throw a light on those kind of rights that we can be aware, that the public can be aware and say, this is a right that I've had to talk about, and I know that it's against me if an individual of the law would do it to me?
Thank you. Well, it is to understand your fundamental human rights, you have to go into. But then, for the course of the purpose of this particular discussion, I would just have to tell you few. So basically, law is classified into so many dimensions. Well, we have the private law, we have the property, we have the municipal law, and stuff like that. So basically, for humans, the often abused rights that we have comes with private and property law. That is not ignoring the fact that fundamental human right to is there. That is right to movement, right to freedom of speech, right to association, right to um, your own personal beliefs and practices, right to run for governmentship, use this political, you have the right to vote and be voted for. That's true. And also another thing again that is not really noticed among us is the fact that when it comes to private law on properties, most of us sleeps on this right. Like, okay, I have a land, and I know I'm supposed to protect it, and I leave it there, and people dump refugees, they build houses and stuff like that. So if you know you don't want to use it house, why don't you give it to the government? you know, like, or you have your papers. It is true, back in those days, many people claim to land. In as much you spent less than 2 years, it's your property already, it's your land. So I feel that of the private and property law, the rights that are really enjoyed, that most people ignore, is that one. And also for contractual relationship, when it comes to business, there are lots into this particular right anyways. There are lots into, but yes, your fundamental human right is key. Right to life, and that same goes to abortion. That little child too has, though it's called embroidery anyways, but then that is a human being. But yeah, right to life, freedom of speech, movement, to your own private practices and belief, your intellectual thinking and reasoning, you have right to all of these things. Yeah, thank you.
Okay, okay, thank you. So, as a student of law, Miss Caroline Hoskin, what has been one thing you've noticed in Liberia's legal system that has been a major fault, and I think it has to be repelled? And how can that be repelled? If you make a suggestion to that.
Well, you see, if you know something, then you'll be able to tell if it is good or it is bad. So I just feel for Liberia to be a better place is to be educated. I know most people, and doing my research online and with the way I saw some things, in as much more people go to secondary school, primary school, the population there of people not going to school or not even educated. I understand you being illiterate means you can read and you can write, you can communicate and stuff like that. But it goes way beyond that. Education will not tell you, but then you and I know that it goes way beyond that. So I feel the educational sector should be focused on. And with that, people will be able to see so many things that they are not doing right or they are lapsing on that particular um,
So if you are following us, you are listening to the Change program, where it's coming your way
functions or
every week.
duties. So,
So today we are
yeah,
in talk
the
with
educational
Caroline Hoskin, our guest speaker in the show. If whatsoever
Okay.
you are joining us, we say you are welcome to the Change. Okay, Moses, you want to come in?
Yeah, so we've been seated here with Ms. Caroline Hoskin dissecting the issue of Liberia's legal system, and she's been giving us the entire perspective of her understanding and of the Liberia's legal system and how it works and the functionalities, the structure, the modus operandi, and the modus vivendi. And we are very happy to have drank from her fountain of knowledge. So, like time is men's not they're not just friendly. This is time is men's best, not best friend. So uh we have limited time in our show tonight, and we have to let the audience know that you can make your queries, your comments, your questions heard to our platforms on social media by commenting, and then we'll read all your questions or your queries to our guests. But we have a very limited time, so to just call it a night tonight, we ask our guests to shortly give us her closing statement and, in a nutshell, exactly how she feels that the legal system of Liberia should be operated and what are her suggestions to the lapses she's been seeing within our legal system. So, Caroline, you can just close up us on everything we talk about tonight, and then we can call it a night. Caroline, we're not hearing you.
So, Moses, we have been in touch with Caroline Hoskin today, speaking to us on the legal system, using Liberia as a case study. As we are with her, I think she has some technical problem. As we are with her to give her concluding statements on the issues tonight, Wherever you are joining us, we say welcome to the Exchange. The Exchange is 1 hour, 30 minutes program brought to you your way every Wednesday and that of Saturday to from different perspectives on issues affecting young people. So Moses, we can speak from that, and probably if Caroline have to join, then she can give her parting statements, and we can call this a day.
Yeah, sure. She's having some technical problem after the digital system. So I'm sure she's gonna join us shortly, and once she joins, she can give us a parting statement. But we've been talking about law and order. We've been talking about the legal systems in Liberia. So she's back. So Caroline, give us your parting statement and give us your suggestions to Liberia's legal system before we can call tonight at night.
Okay, thank you very much. I had an issue with my internet, but then yeah, I'm back. Basically, the Liberia legal system, from the view of it, I feel yes, because it is a unitarian system of government that is all powers is vested in one person, and and yes, definitely there are rules and regulation put into place that is running down from the arms of government, that's the three tiers of government, the executive, the judiciary, and the legislative. And this is how the power runs from the head to the top. And also, we should not be ignorant of the fact that the court is open to everyone and you can be heard. And definitely, when you have an issues, you can visit the court. So, to simply put it, the legal system of Liberia, in as much it is fixed and it is binding, their decisions are always binding, and it is in its appropriate channel. I feel I feel there should be more to it. There should be more to it because the power, in as much there is check and balance to this to the arrangement of the legal system in Liberia, there should be more to it because the power is solemnly vesting in the presidency and it ought to flow. And from my own view and my own observation, it is theoretically that most of these are channeled well, but then there are a lot of lapses and stuff like that. So yeah, I'll bring this to a close.
Yeah, we said thank you so much, Caroline Hoskin. I've been our guest today on today's editions talking about the legal systems of the legal system using Liberia as a case study here. And we've been in talk with Caroline Hoskin. As we draw down the curtain on today's editions, we want to say thank you so much, Caroline Hoskin, for turning out and for accepting our invite to be one of our guests today. So we say thank you so much as we call today a day, and I will say goodbye for now. And whatsoever you are joining, Moses, throw away on.
Yeah, let us say a very big thank you to our guests for accepting our invite. Miss Carolyn Hoskin, it was a pleasure having you tonight to discuss and dissect the issues of Liberia's legal system, discussing the structure and discussing the functionalities, and like I said earlier, the modus operandi and the modus vivendi. We are very happy to have had you here, and it's going to be a pleasure having you here so many times. You are so obsessed with law, and we hope that you can achieve all of your dreams of becoming a lawyer and help to revamp and build our legal system nationally and internationally. Until then, next week we meet you again. My name is Moses T. Delaware, and it was a pleasure being a part of this course tonight. Thank you very much, and have a good day.